Hey, thanks for that.
I
Just kidding,
tried.
Dad. I love you. Like,
Oh man. Anyways, hey guys, welcome back to the DLC podcast where we talk games, movies, all things in between. I'm Isaac. That's
I'm
Jeremiah, the Juice
Jeremiah.
Man. And again, we have the immaculate legend himself, Brent. Work in progress, Whips.
What's up, everyone?
Jacob will join us when he joins us, but as the
He's
title,
too cool for the
He's
cool. He has to show up fashionably
he
late.
does.
Is
But
what it is.
I just want to throw out there on the 13th of this month, Mr. Work in Progress here is gonna release a video where me and Jeremiah were featured in, so be sure to check that out. But that's not the topic of today. The topic of today is FPS versus fighting games. Okay, so first off, I want to get everyone's history regarding the two genres, right? So I want to start with our guest first, Brent, because as far as I know, I see you as an action adventure. Like that's all you've ever talked about, action adventure. So do you have any like fighting games or first person shooter games you really like? And
yeah. Okay, so I mean, I've sort of, when I was younger, I followed the trends of what was big because I was a tool like that. I played I played the Halos, and I played like the Call of Duties. I think I would have to say though, one of the most fun experiences I've ever had in gaming was actually with the first person shooter, and that was with the first Destiny. I used to have LAN parties in my grandparents' garage when I was living with them, and a good friend of mine, she would bring her TV over, and then a couple of friends of ours from work, they would bring their TVs over, and we'd just have all of our TVs in like this sort of circle, and we'd have our PlayStations, and we'd just sit there and we'd play Destiny for like hours upon hours upon hours. So I have enjoyed first person shooters. I have since not played them as much simply because online first person shooter communities tend to be a bit more toxic. Considering I'm like a casual player, I'm not particularly good at them. And then as far as fighting games, the only experience I've ever had with fighting games, there's only been 3 that I've ever been good at. That is Dragon Ball Z Budokai 1, Budokai 2, and Budokai 3.
Hey.
Not even Tenkaichi? Not even Tenkaichi, bro?
I phased fighting games out basically after Budokai 3. That was PlayStation 2 era, baby.
Hey, look who joined us.
So as far as fighting games go, like I don't really play them. I've phased shooters out. Not to say that I wouldn't play a shooter. I just haven't found one that I would actually like. I mean, I like Borderlands, but I mean, I guess that qualifies as a shooter, but like it's not like one of those online multiplayer community kind of shooters.
I'll say
more like a casual action adventure kind of shooter.
Right. So I'll say this. Because that was one thing I mentioned with Jacob. If we're including every type of shooting game, no. We're talking like the Call of Duties, the Halos, the Destinies, games like if it's action adventure that has shooting, like Uncharted and stuff like that, those don't count, right?
Okay.
So,
if I may, do we count Gears and
yes? Yes.
Are we live?
Yes, we're live.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm still setting up.
So are we counting Gears of War, Ghost Recon?
Yes.
These are third-person shooters.
Yes.
We said FPS. I was like, so can I speak on that?
I discussed that with Jacob too, and so just competitive shooters, I guess you would say.
Go ahead.
So online competitive shooters.
For the most part, yes. Not action adventure that involves shooting. Like Tomb Raider, Uncharted, stuff like that. Yeah, no.
Okay.
All right. So
I mean, I do feel like those fall into a different category.
Yeah.
But I do want to know that, like, so you mean like just anything that is a shooter primary? Are we talking Bulletstorm with co-op or?
I mean, pretty much if the game consists of mostly shooting, then it's a shooter.
Okay. So Bulletstorm, yes.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and I don't know how far we're going to get because I'm wanting to do shooters versus RPGs and then fighting games versus, what was it, adventure action games.
No, I switched it up on accident. It's FPS versus fighting games.
Oh, that's even tougher, bro.
Exactly.
Gosh.
Yeah, because you and I
Okay.
have some skin in that. But Juicy, continue.
Okay.
Well, Whip, did you have anything else to add to that? I'm sorry.
Oh,
No, I mean, yeah, the only shooter, I guess you could say, the only shooter that I play nowadays would probably be any kind of Borderlands game, basically any shooter that does not have a multiplayer element, and I can go on and play it by myself. I'll play it, but I won't get involved in like multiplayer stuff anymore. It's too like everyone's
Toxic.
too good. Everyone's too good and too toxic. Yeah, it's just like there's not a place for me there anymore.
That's fair.
real quick, Jacob. Jacob, can you move your mic out away from your mouth a little bit?
I'm breathing too hard.
I mean, you have a little
That
bit.
bit.
That's better.
That bit.
That's
Okay.
better.
Well, then going on to my stuff. So I have to agree with you, Whip. I am definitely one of the Chads here. Like, we started in Halo, in little church. Yeah, like Halo is it. Everybody was like, you got to be Halo or bust.
Yeah.
I will say we didn't own a console. We didn't own a PS2 until I was well into my high school year, and that stayed with my brother. What I did instead was, because I had friends with like Xboxes and really nice PlayStations and stuff, so I just bought controllers. Like, my thing is, it's cheaper to buy a controller, and that way you've always got a player 3, player 4, player 2, and but I actually did very well with shooters and fighting games. I mean, I was part of the Dragon Ball Z, the Budokai. I mean, I really liked Tenkaichi over Budokai 1, 2, and 3, but those were still great games. And of course, I wanted to support it. Of course, Mortal Kombat, Soul Calibur, like things that my friends would have. But my experience in both shooters and in fighting games at the beginning was whatever anyone had. And so long as there was a controller for me, or I brought my own, I'd play it. Gears of War became my shooter, and I love Gears of War. The flip side of it, fighters, I'd have to say, I mean, I still play fighters and shooters. Apex has me now. I still play that with Jacob every once in a while. And I'm playing that Fire Strike team is really fun, which I guess is, it kind of depends. But then Smash, if you consider it a shooter, I'm playing Smash, so
Smash a shooter?
Not a shooter. Well, it can be depending on who you play, but a fighting game. Yeah, it's a fighting game.
It's a fighting game.
It's a fighting game.
I think so. It's a party game, but it's a fighting game. It depends on how you play it. So those are my interactions. I mean, obviously Mortal Kombat back in the day, but up to now is Smash and fighting. So
the only good Super Smash Brothers game was the original. All of the other ones suck. Fight me.
I will fight you.
That's a conversation for another time. But I'll tell you this, man. Fun fact about me: I am a really good Wii Fit trainer. I'll take anyone to the bank with that. I never played any other Smash Brothers before Ultimate, and as by far the best one ever. Ignorance comes out. It exudes. No, but I would say I this is the one I jumped into, so I of course like it. But I've heard so many good like it's not as good as Brawl. It's not as good as Melee. It's not as good as even Smash 4.
I would say Ultimate has been probably the most balanced one from what I hear from players. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's the best one.
That's definitely a topic we should all, because I mean Europe, yeah. But either way, so going on to you though, Jacob. So what was your experience with everything?
So are we answering the question, or are we just?
We're giving our history. We're giving our history with the games, with the two genres.
So like fighting and shooters, I would say I have more history with fighting games. I have more of a love for fighting games. I didn't like shooters until like already in like my late years in college. And so like shooters never appealed to me. I sucked at them. People tried to make me play Halo and I sucked. GoldenEye, as much as people rave at it. I hated the game. I think it's overrated. I don't think it's that good. But
We
fighting,
just lost some viewers.
yeah, fighting games was always a comfort for me. But then when I did get into shooters, I really fell heavy into them when I started to love them. Black Ops being the main one. Rage. Rage was a shooter that I really enjoyed. I know a lot of people didn't like the game, but I really enjoyed it. And of course, right now the main game I play is Apex, and I mean that's I would say out of my time spent gaming, it's mostly shooters now. But as far as history, I feel like I have a bigger history list with fighting games.
I feel like you and I put in some work on Smash. I think
We
those
do.
hours are constrained. You think you play more Apex than Smash?
I think I do. I think I do because I don't play competitive anymore. I don't play at home. I only play with you when we get the time. I don't play any other fighting games no more. But I still have a love for them. But right now, like back in the day, fighting games was my comfort. Right now, shooting games is my comfort, but I also think that's just because I'm just too lazy to pick up the sticks and learn a new fighting game.
Can I just say make one comment about GoldenEye 64? It's just it is okay. It is not a good game. It is
Right?
it is a trash game, okay?
Yes.
But it did set it like I don't think we would have shooters today without GoldenEye.
Now, okay.
I believe that GoldenEye has its place in history as sort of like what the bare bones of a shooter should be. But it is a trash game, and I think that as far as Nintendo 64 games go, there are better games that are built with even better AI, they're like better controls. But I do understand, and I know that GoldenEye has its place in history. I don't think we would have Halo Combat Evolved without GoldenEye.
And honestly, that's kind of where I'm at. I do think it's a trash game, but I will give it the respect it's earned.
Yeah. No, yeah,
and what it's done for the gaming community and shooters in general.
Yep. Well, with that being said, sorry to cut you off. With that being said,
sorry to deter the conversation.
I mean, yeah.
It's Isaac's fault.
Part of it. Yeah, I'm not a part of it. I never played GoldenEye, so I'm just like, I mean, I hear about it, but I
was forced to.
Yeah. So first, I just want to say, me and Jacob did not coordinate our outfits. It just kind of happened that way.
Right.
I just want to say that. Secondly, Jacob, every episode you have a new background. Respect it.
I do. I
respect.
I try to go with the thing. It also helps that my wife's been rearranging the room constantly, and so I was over here in that corner one episode. I was in my room one episode. I was in the kitchen one episode. Now I'm in this corner. Like my wife's just been like everywhere, and so I kind of have to make do. That's why the lighting is
better. Now, I feel like it's better.
You think so? I think it could be better. I didn't have enough time to mess with it.
No, you're good.
No, you could be better, but that lighting is perfect.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
So the thing is, okay. So my history regarding the two genres, right? So Jacob and I play both, but we're both different in this aspect. Is Jacob
plot twist? We grew up together.
Ooh. But okay. First, I just want to say GoldenEye it's not garbage. I wholeheartedly enjoy it.
But is it good?
Yes. It is good. It is good. I get.
I'm gonna join you, Isaac, so you're not ganged up by these two.
No,
I'm with you.
No, I'm not.
Ignorance is all I need.
No, like I just a quick thing. Like I get the complaints, right? Like, did it age properly? No, it didn't age properly. But
the music did.
Dude, the music is amazing. But for what it was, and at the time, I thought it was top tier, right? But that being said, and one more thing I want to say is I think you're right about Halo because Jet Force Gemini and you know they kind of got some similarities there, except you're fighting ants and not elites. But I digress. I played primary FPS or shooters. Jacob can attest to this.
Yeah.
When it came to the competitive scene, I was Call of Duty, Halo. Like my history with, for those of you who don't know me or like are new, my favorite shooting game of all time is Modern Warfare 2, right? And growing up, one thing I did enjoy was Halo 2 because me and my older brother, we would go to his friend's house and have a LAN party playing Halo 2, right? And it was just
Good times.
dude,
Good times. Yeah,
I
I did that too.
yeah, like it was like for me, shooting games just I resonated with them it was I felt like it was made for me. And
I feel like those were the golden years too, though.
yeah, but the thing is why I say GoldenEye's not good. I mean, not good. Like why I like it is because I feel like GoldenEye was my gateway to shooting games because
it's the same for a lot of people, I would think too.
yeah, and you know, I love Halo. I love Call of, or let me say this carefully. I love past Call of Duty. Granted, Modern Warfare 2019 is still by far one of the best Call of Duties that came out in recent years, right? So I just want to throw that out there. And when it comes to fighting games, well, the guy right here that you see right next to me, you know, he would bully me and steal my GameCube. So if I wanted to play, it would have to be Smash or a type of fighting game on his PS2, right? And when it comes to fighting games, growing up, GoldenEye got me into shooting, Killer Instinct got me into fighting. And from there, you know, I started loving it. And, you know, I went from Killer Instinct to where I still remember the day me and my brother went with my grandparents to Target and he bought Marvel vs. Capcom. Right.
Mhm.
And the reason he bought that was because prior to that, we went to our cousin's house and we played Street Fighter versus X-Men versus Street Fighter.
Yeah.
And seeing like all the flashing lights and the intense combos for a young kid who, you know, I used the auto combos, right? Because I don't know combos, and it was just so much fun. And getting older, playing Tekken 3, you know, playing Smash and Smash Melee. And then one of my favorite fighting games is Third Strike, right? And then Ultimate Marvel 3. So, and I got really competitive in those games as well as, you know, Killer Instinct 2013. So for me, it's a hard thing to choose between the two because I feel like I've invested a lot of time in both genres, right? And yeah, so with that being said, let's just get right into it and let's pick who let's decide what we choose. So again, we're almost start with Brent. What are you going with? Which one are you gonna get rid of? What genre are you gonna get rid of?
Whip it out. Let us know.
I'd have to get rid of. Well, okay. Okay. So I'm gonna. How do I put it? So if
I gotta know, Brent.
If someone were to say, Brent, you're gonna get stuck on a desert island, and you can either have any shooter ever made, or you can get Dragon Ball Z Budokai 1, 2, and 3. I'd go with Dragon Ball Z Budokai 1, 2, and 3.
I mean, okay. Hey, props for being on a deserted island with electricity. My gosh, that's impressive.
Right. But like,
he's not gonna play the games. He's just gonna hold them. Like, what are you gonna be there with? Like,
because like I honestly, like, if someone were to bring over like a shooting game
How you
or
doing,
Dragon
zombie?
Ball Z Budokai, I would probably be like, let's play Dragon Ball Z Budokai. But like, I mean, like, if I had to go with if they're like, okay, well, if you'll get stuck on an island with like Halo or like the latest like Street Fighter, I'd probably go with Halo. It's a weird sort of like I'm basically giving non-answers. But
Politician.
Yeah, like oh, the suspense is killing me.
Right.
Gordon Ramsay, do you like the dish or don't you? Like,
let's just okay. Definitive answer: Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. Yeah.
All right,
Going
so
Fighters, man.
I'd have more fun playing Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 than playing any other shooter.
It's technically both. I mean, you shoot lasers, you shoot key blasts.
So I want to say something real quick. Epic Zombie Killer is joining us, and he says
What's up?
he'd pick shooters because he grew up playing Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 and zombie games in general.
Oh, there you go.
And which I respect that. 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 Yeah. But
well,
right.
so you pick fighters? Final answer. That's it.
I would no. I think no. My answer is I would pick Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3.
So
like yeah, like I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm saying that whatever category that's in.
Yeah.
I would pick Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 over any shooter.
I respect it. So fighting games. We'll give it to fighting games then.
No. Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3.
It's a fighting game.
I understand. I understand. I didn't follow the Lakers. I followed Kobe. It was the LA Kobe's. If he would have been transferred to the Nuggets, it would have been the Kobe's. Like it is what it is. I get you.
Right. So moving on to Juicy. What do you pick, brother?
Oh, all day, baby. Fighters. So shooters. Yeah, shooters are great. I mean, it was a foundation of the games. But something I left out. I started on fighters. I'm talking Super Nintendo Street Fighter 2. Break it down, baby. I mean, so Street Fighter just... So my thing is, I went through a stint where I'm playing nothing but shooters. Friends are playing shooters. I'm like, yeah, I mean, why would I go back to fighters? I hear Mortal Kombat's coming out. Man, I don't care. And then you watch the trailer for Street Fighter 4 when it was coming out. You know, like that Invincible song. Indestructible.
Yeah,
like that.
Song.
Like, oh, dude, it was dope. Like everything coming in, and of course, it's all some weird animation styles and stuff. But it was amazing. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'll go play the game, bro. It took me right back. And so I liked fighters. I play shooters with friends, but anytime a fighter comes up, Soul Calibur. I never played Marvel vs. Capcom, but I was so interested in playing when Jacob brought over. Then I find out, oh, they're the same people who made Marvel Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, which was one of my all-time favorite games. So it's like, yeah. And then, of course, getting into Smash, I mean, it's fun. I wish I would have, had rich parents. So that would have been nice to play on more than a Super Nintendo for most of my life. So, and it's what it is, man. Well, we had a PlayStation, but what I'm saying is, there's also another part too. The last part is, I usually play with my brother a lot, and like we had friends and stuff, but it was brother, so it was 2-player games. There was a lot more fun competing against him than it was like playing if we had a shooter together or something else. So we tended to play a lot of fighters against each other, and that, he loved the Budokai series. He loved Tenkaichi. He loved Dragon Ball Z in general. We played a game, was it Primal, where you're a bunch of dinosaurs and stuff. He loved that game. Yeah. Pretty much when my brother wanted a game, we got it. And he liked fighters. And so that also holds a special place in my heart for that, that when it comes down to it, I get my butt handed to me by him 9 times out of 10 and loved every minute of it. Like he was, so it's nostalgic. I would take fighters. Plus, shooters are bland nowadays. It is what it is. Like, shooters are pretty much carbon copies now. They go 2 seasons and then they're the same as everything else. So, yeah. So, okay. But yeah, so Jacob, what do you say?
So, I feel like if this question was given to me when I was younger, it would have been easy and just would have been like fighters, hands down. If I was in college when I was really heavy into shooters, I feel it would have been tougher, but I think I would have leaned towards fighters still, because I was still active in the FGC. But now, now the fact that I play more shooters than like any other game, it's tough because I'm leaning shooters because not like I'm thinking shooters. I'm thinking Apex, Call of Duty, but I'm also thinking like Rage. That was a fun shooter game. I'm thinking like Resident Evil. I mean, those were good shooter games.
Those count as shooter
Gears.
games?
I mean, not really, but there's guns.
Okay, there is guns, and that's the main thing is you are shooting. But if we were to take that away, there's still Gears of War. Even though I didn't play all of them, the ones I played I really enjoyed, and I love the co-op with shooters. So even if we were to take Resident Evil and not count them, there's still a lot of shooters I did enjoy. With fighting games, they were fun, and like now I just don't have the patience to learn fight like every new fighting game.
Right.
But see, I think I would go with fighters overall, mostly because, like Jeremiah was saying, with the fighting game, there's more of a 1v1 competitiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Where shooters, you can get that, but most shooters nowadays just focus heavily on online play.
Mm-hmm.
Not that fighters don't, but you can play a fighting game and not have to play online. You can play offline. With like Apex, it's online. It has to be online. Call of Duty nowadays suck. I hate COD now. Back 4 Blood was okay. Like, I just don't see myself. Like, if I had the time to play more fighting games, I would. And so I think if I was on the desert island, like Whip have mentioned, and I got all the time in the world, and there's electricity and good online connection, I will go with fighters.
A quick question. You guys should play Deathloop. It's one of the best shooters I've played in recent years, and it's available on PC.
I don't think I've heard of that one. I'll have to look it up.
There's no way you haven't heard of it. They
did a review on this, right? It had all the feels for it. Did you? There was a game that you were saying that looked really good that you were wanting to jump into.
No, that's either Ghostwire or Atomic Heart.
Real quick though, for those who do want to play Ghostwire, they have a prelude demo out for free if you want to download it and play it. I downloaded it and I'm gonna play it tomorrow. All right.
I also forgot about Crysis. The Crysis games were good shooter games.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Which is making a comeback, by the way. So.
Yes, they are. I'm excited. I think I still go with fighting games.
All right. So
I just have a deeper history with them.
All right. So I just want to. So Juicy said that shooters are stale nowadays, and I won't disagree with that. But I will also say fighting games were stale up until now. The fighting game pool, like Street Fighter V, botched, right? That was not a good game.
Okay, so it
talk about Street Fighter V.
It took 5 years. It took 5 years.
It did.
That is not defending it, bro.
It did take a minute. It did take a minute. But
right. and then Marvel Infinite.
I don't know what game that is.
Okay.
But Street Fighter V is decent now.
We're not talking about. I know, but I'm saying coming out the gate. There were golden age of fighting games, and up until recently, hopefully with the games now, it was as bland as FPS, right? So
no, you're right. You're right.
Right, and for me, obviously, I'm gonna go shooters because for this, okay. So you guys are right. You have that 1v1 factor. You can play with your friends with like couch co-op. You can't really do that with shooters unless you're doing like a LAN party or you guys have the trust factor where you're not gonna peek at my side of the screen. But
I hated split screen, dude, and shooters.
Yeah,
God, no. Growing up, trying to be the honest brother.
He was the only one with two.
With these other two.
Yeah, but
I hated it.
but my thing is, so for me, I love fighting games, but when it comes to shooting games, for me personally, there's more of a replay factor because, you know, with I get okay, like so Jacob knows this, but I got burned out on battle royales, right? And that's the whole
Yeah.
main thing now is battle royales.
Yeah.
And for me, when people say shooting games, games that I like for instance, you were mentioning Crisis. Crisis has a great storyline. The Modern Warfare series has a great storyline.
The old ones, yeah.
Yeah, I was saying the Modern Warfare series.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Gears of War, great storyline. You know, and like Zombie said, dude, like the Left 4 Dead games, though, you know, they're not much. They're more of an arcade shooter. You're having a good time with it. You know, it's a fun time, and that's a game you can play with your friends on the couch. You know, that'll be a good time. Like when it comes to fighting games, for those, like I said, for those of you that don't know me, my attention span is very, very tiny. When it comes,
it's like a goldfish.
Yeah, because Juicy talked about this earlier, where at one moment I am going hard at Smash, she's enjoying playing Smash with me, and then I drop it like a bad habit. Like, okay, I'm done. It doesn't like Killer Instinct was the last fighting game that really caught my attention. Not including Ultimate, right? Like the most recent one.
Well, I mean, Killer Instinct came out after Ultimate, so that would be a correct statement.
Yeah. So
no.
It came out 2013. Killer Instinct came out on
Capcom came before.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we had Smash Ultimate. I was like, no. I thought we were on that Ultimate. I was like, no way.
Okay.
No. So anyways, there's enough shooting games that have a good story that I could be on a deserted island and play through those. Whereas a fighting game, it's limited to either playing online or against a friend because the campaign sucks. You know, fighting games aren't known for their campaign. So
there are some good ones.
No, there are some, but they're not known for that. Is what I'm saying. Like they're not known for. I mean, another game that flopped that had a lot of hype. Street Fighter Cross Tekken. You know, like that was
okay. That flopped not because it was a bad game, but because the creators pretty much
the gem system ruined it. So
not even that. Not even that. The reason it died off was because they made promises to a lot of these major players that they're going to get these things, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, we're not giving you those things."
Let me say this. Then. Let me say this.
And then let me finish. And then they're going to sell downloadable content that was already finished product in the game.
Yeah, but
so they just pissed off their fan base.
Well, not only that, it's the fact that the matches went on for 5 minutes because people were standing still to get their gems activated. Those were the longest matches and most boring matches I've seen in a tournament.
I wouldn't say they were boring, but they were long.
They were boring for me personally. Now, that's what I'm saying. There's shooting games that have great stories, you know. And then if I did want to play online, dude, Overwatch at its peak was phenomenal. Destiny at its D1. At its peak, phenomenal, right? I could play that and not get bored. Like I could grind and I would have an amazing time. But that's why I pick shooter, because for me, when it comes to fighting games, I am depending on online or a friend to play with. If I don't got that, what do I have outside of a training dummy? And
so I will agree with you as far as replay. I would agree with you. Shooters have more replay, but I would say that when I watch shooters and I watch fighting games have more hype. Like it's there's more hype moments watching fighters than there are shooters.
That is true that is true when you're watching other people play, right? Like for instance, when it comes to fighting games for me, I have hype moments, but when it comes to shooting games, when you and I did those tournaments like on Modern Warfare and you died and I had to clutch it up and I clutch it up, I'm like, yo, I'm better than you. I'm better than everyone. And I get hyped off of that because I want
to say that I was used as bait more than used for my skills, but you know,
I 1v3'd multiple times, okay, and I clutched it. That's all I care. Me and my Desert Eagle were flawless.
It's easy to clutch when they're all shooting at me, Isaac.
That's your
I
for
do
running out
want to
there.
throw in for storylines. I'm just gonna drop the fighter Injustice. Like you're talking about
That's a good-
storylines.
That's a good one. That is a good one. That is a good one. That is a good.
Like-
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Mortal
they've got
Kombat
a
does
comic.
it too, and you got to give it to because Mortal Kombat. So the beauty of the fighter that is Mortal Kombat is they saw that fighters were getting stale. So what they do back in PlayStation 2 era, Mortal Kombat Armageddon, that trilogy where it was like this open world type fighter where it's like it's taking it through this weird like
Shaolin Monks was phenomenal
just
too.
weird
Shaolin
story.
Monks,
Yeah.
when they had that RPG story to it, it was pretty phenomenal.
I'm just saying, like, so there are some fighters with some, but I do agree. With an overall, there's usually a campaign with a shooter, or heck, even Apex at least has an interesting storyline background. Like, you're not
Yeah.
just playing random character. Oh, in Overwatch, although Overwatch has the
Titanfall was
Blizzard
phenomenal.
factor. Overwatch has the Blizzard factor, where there is a storyline, has nothing to do with the gameplay, has nothing to do with anything you're doing. Like, even though we're talking about this weird Overwatch of Crusaders, shooting and trying to keep the peace and stuff, you're still a giant gorilla who can ultimate and slam down and kill 5 people for no reason.
Yeah,
That doesn't count for storyline. But I would say that Overwatch was hype and still enjoyable to watch. So
Yeah.
And even then with that, like I would even say like with Apex, there's not really much of a storyline, but there is still a storyline, and it's more lore. And I feel like a lot of fighting games have so much potential to give lore, and they just don't.
Yeah.
So I would agree with you on that. Shooters tend to have a bit more, but Mortal Kombat and Injustice are some of the fighters.
They are, for sure.
But
Like,
that's a small selection out of the whole genre.
NetherRealm Studio, outside of Mortal Kombat vs. DC, have made some pretty solid games with story. I mean, they did have a rough patch too. They did. I'm not gonna deny that. MK11 kind of reset things for people, but it's kind of nice. But
so from what I'm hearing here is it's 3-1 then fighters to shooters.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so now I do have a question. Does Mass Effect count as a shooter?
No.
I never played.
I want to count
I never
it.
played this, so I don't know.
Like it's my thing. It's a shooting game, but it's kind of like it's like RPG action adventure kind of game. So
Okay.
I put that in its own thing because if that's the case, then Dead Space, Resident Evil.
So are we just classifying it as like first person shooters?
First
Generally an
person, third
objective
person
based.
shooters. I mean, like Fortnite. Fortnite's a shooter, but it's not a first person shooter. It's
Yeah.
a third person.
Okay, got
But
it.
the
Where
main
the-
objective
where the-
is
where the-
shooting.
where the primary concept is just the shooting, because you do have, like I said, shooting horror, shooting this and that. It's just mainly what the selling pitch is. Hey, it's a shooting game, not so much. Hey, you're killing zombies in multiple different ways.
Okay, got it.
Like I was going to ask about Left 4 Dead and says that's a horde mechanic game. There's more than just shooting, and ultimately it's just survival. But our
It's an arcade
survival's
shooter,
counted in that.
It's arcade
Oh,
shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an arcade shooter. The only reason I can see Resident Evil not being part of this is the fact that Resident Evil is also like a puzzle game. Like you're figuring out puzzles and stuff. But I can see it being classified in shooters if you want, but it can also be classified as in like shooter action RPG type game.
Yeah.
Or adventure action, I guess.
So with that being said, it's going to start wrapping this up, but it, as GC said, it is 3-1. It's 3-1, and you know what? With it being 3-1, I see it as an even matchup. I ain't worried about it. But this is part 1 of what we're talking about, because we do have a part 2, and that one's going to be a little more interesting.
Yeah.
Because that's going to involve RPGs versus action adventure.
Yeah.
Like the Spider-Mans and stuff like that.
Resident
God of War.
So,
Horizon Zero Dawn. But
Mass Effect.
And then then you have, Final Fantasies, the Tales series. Like, so it's gonna be a fun one. I'm looking forward to it. And I feel like Whips here will have a little more skin in that for sure. I feel like it'll be a little Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why I kind of did it this way, because at first it was shooters versus RPG, but I could feel like that was too easy for Jacob.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I gotta swap those. So it's, yeah. So next week we're gonna do RPGs versus action adventure. And granted, RPGs as a whole spectrum, like RPGs, JRPGs, stuff like that. But yeah, so that being said, Jacob, where can they find us in case you want to give us suggestions or whatever?
Find us on Instagram at Duelist Chat. We will notify you when we go live. If you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, find us on YouTube at Duelist Chat. Follow us on TikTok at Duelist Chat as well. And I'm not going to say Twitter because our Twitter's pretty much dead. So.
It'll come back one day. Brent, what about you, buddy? Where can I find you?
You can find me at Work in Progress on YouTube. And you can find me on Instagram at whip_media_slow. That's it. That's basically it. Yeah.
And his YouTube will be in the description. Now, Juicy.
Yeah, give him a like, give him a follow, baby.
For sure. And like the same for us. If you like the content, give us a like, subscribe, ring the notification bell.
Guys.
So,
let us know what y'all would pick too.
And Juicy, give us an outro, baby. Give us an outro.
You know we love you, and if you love us,
we're
then
done.
we'll see you next time.
I'm just kidding. Catch you guys next week. Bye.